This is episode 30, an episode with me, Tiffany Hinton, and we're talking all about updates on the homestead and what's happening with cultivating guts today on Cultivating Guts. Hello, it's Tiffany, and welcome back to Cultivating Guts, where we discuss gardening, homesteading, gut health, and following our intuition. Super excited to be back with you guys here. And today it's all about gratitude. Today's podcast is a really short and sweet one, talking about where we came from, what we've had kind of realized over the year, and where we're headed with cultivating guts, and also a call to action for what do you want us to talk about? What content are you looking for? What guest in topics might be useful for you, for us to have on the podcast? And so if you are watching us live, hello. And if you want to watch us live, you can catch the video on Spotify or on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Tiffany Hinton. And before we get started, I want you to subscribe so you get notified anytime a podcast drops. Rate and review the Cultivating Guts podcast, and that's a way for more people to find us and for you to pay it forward. If you do a rate and a review, take a screenshot of your review, send it over to Tiffany at gfmomcertified.com. I'll get you a 4-day Hacking Your Health Gut Detox plan for free, and you can try out one of our gut detox plans. Also, if you're listening to the podcast and you have a favorite part of this episode, go ahead and take a screenshot, share it with us on Instagram, and we will reshare. We love resharing. And before we jump into the content, here's a quick word from our sponsor. Today's podcast is sponsored by NonDisclosure Apparel, and it is my go-to everyday bra, like we've been talking about on the podcast. Super excited when I met Becky a little over a year ago and found their brand new Ellie bralettes. Actually, I'm wearing one today. Not only because it has nipple coverage, but also because it has no wiring. It is super comfortable. It's not compressing like a sports bra would be. And I can wear it under t-shirts, no issues, no nipples. And people that are listening to the podcast are probably like, what, Tiffany? Honestly, yeah, my girls wear them. Our photographer now has one, and it is becoming this thing. And so if you do not yet have yourself an Ellie bralette, not only is it a female-owned company, designed and made in the USA, right here in the US, it is a company that, and if you go back to one of our earlier podcasts, you're going to hear Becky, but Becky designed this company for her own need and to benefit other women and other little girls who were having embarrassing moments because their nipples were showing through their t-shirts or showing through their dresses. So definitely, I am super excited to have NonDisclosure Apparel as a podcast sponsor for my own reasons, but also so we can help more young girls and women and just people that are, maybe you're doing yoga, you're doing farm chores, you're doing whatever, you're working from home. It's your everyday go-to bra. And we have a very special discount for our community only. And that code is GFMOM15. That saves you 15% off your total purchase. And then if you order 2 Ellie bralettes, you will also receive free shipping. So we'll put all those details in the show notes, but definitely check out the Ellie bralette by NonDisclosure Apparel. All right, I thought we'd have a fun podcast today, so I grabbed my hat, and it's I'm filming this on the full moon. It's not going to come out on the full moon, but today is the full moon, and the energy is a little more wonky, right? I've been up since 4 a.m., which is about 4 hours ago, which is a little crazy because I couldn't sleep, but that happens on the full moon. And I don't know. Life is good. So one of the things I love to do on a full moon is gratitude and forgiveness. And I started out this morning with gratitude, all the different things I'm grateful for, put out an Instagram reel with some photos and some videos of things I'm grateful for. And it also then inspired me today to talk about things that have happened with our homestead since the podcast started. So this also, I got a text message from one of the listeners on the podcast that said, hey, I went back and listened to episode 1 of your podcast. So if you've not ever listened to episode 1, like scroll back in the podcast, go back to episode 1. I talk about the origins of cultivating guts, how it came to me in a meditation, and how I kind of spent time receiving and getting everything ready to launch. And I think that episode, let's see, we're in August. So that was like 9-10 months ago that I recorded that. And the podcast is exactly what I want it to be. It is stories of inspiration. We've interviewed people on spiritual topics, intuition, Akashic records, gardening. I've talked about moon gardening. We've done gardening comparisons. We've started having episodes with different people on chickens. And it's all about, and even like gut health, right? We had some experts on about gut health and skin health. And so it is all around cultivating guts, whether that's taken literally or taken as a the word is escaping me, but anyway, as like a symbol for cultivating your grit, your intuition, cultivating your gumption, right? Or even just like literally like cultivating your gut and your good bacteria in the ground and the gardening and stuff. And so it's been super fun. So things that have happened on our homestead, the chicken coop is built. You can go back and look at Instagram and see a lot of this. The garden is amazing. The Kate's garden is like fully planted, and now it's just a matter of plants over time coming into their full size and their full production. So we added Arona berries, 2 witch hazel plants, 3 red currants. I added a rose bush too. And what's interesting, so our Hecate's garden, which is our herbal garden, has like really healthy medicinal herbs toward the front by that faces the house. And then there's the trellis and there's the stone steps that go back to the greenhouse. And on the opposite side of the stone steps, there's these gargoyles as a symbol to my girls, like the plants on this side will harm you if you don't know what you're doing. And so that's the elderberry plant and the rose bush and some other stuff that is considered poisonous. We grow foxglove and, and there's hollyhock and there's wormwood that we started. And I don't know, there's just so much in there and it's just growing. And so I'm excited to play with the herbs more and more this fall. We've already got some drying. Frankie came this morning and said, hey, I want to make body sprays. And I was like, cool. Actually, she wanted to go buy body sprays. And I was like, no, we're going to make them. We'll get some witch hazel tonic. We'll get some essential oils. We can add some, some herbs to them. We can add some glitter if you want. We can add crystals. We're going to make body sprays. So that'll be a project I'll share later. In itself, the actual potterage is getting a fence. The posts are painted white. So white picket fence. It's not pickets, but white fence posts. It's got chicken wire over it. So that becomes a chicken run for the chickens, especially in the fall. They'll be able to go out and aerate the garden and poop in it and fertilize it and, and eat the bugs and all of that stuff as the vegetation starts to wane. So as the vegetation starts to die down and we get the harvest that we want, then we'll have that happening. Tomatoes, full in production. I've canned some tomatoes. I keep making Greek salads. We've made pickle jars. The girls had a produce stand 2 days recently for the neighborhood. And we've been picking flowers for the table from the homestead, different like echinacea and Shasta daisies and cosmos and asters and the strawberries are in their second production. So like there's so much that's just alive. And there's apples. My apple trees have rust fungus, so it's not on the actual apples this year, but it is on the leaves. So we'll have to watch that next year. And there's a couple of things I was reading, but if you have an idea for how to treat fruit tree fungus organically, let me know. I really don't want to hurt the birds and the bees, so I may have to go look at wildones.org for some ideas there too as well. But lots of fun stuff. We've got 10 chickens. We got 10 chickens. They came in the mailman. The mailman had them in a box when they were about 12 hours old. And they arrived and they lived in the brooder in the greenhouse for the first 4 weeks of their life. Then they moved into our coop from Carolina Coops, and we have Brahmas, so they're going to be big, 30 inches tall, up to 18-pound chickens. Like these are giant chickens. They're considered the class of giant chickens. So they'll be 5 weeks tomorrow, right? Tomorrow? No, today. They're 5 weeks today. And they're about the size, they've surpassed the size of they're like the size of like a junior hawk. So a juvenile hawk is about the size that they are. They're a good size. Lily actually had one poop on her head yesterday. So Mabel loves to roost on your shoulder or sit on your head if you're hanging out in the chicken area. And she pooped on Lily yesterday. So Lily got a whole conditioning treatment and hair cleanse. The rabbit's good. So if you hadn't heard, we got a Holland Lop rabbit. I am potentially thinking about getting a second rabbit. We'll see, especially going into winter so they can cuddle and snuggle and have extra heat. The rabbit hutch that Lily built is definitely large enough for two. So the rabbit comes inside, the rabbit goes outside, the rabbit comes inside. Once we get the chicken wire up, this fall, the rabbit will be able to also play in the garden with the chickens. And yes, it is okay to mix the chicken and the rabbit. They will get along fine, or they will stay away from each other, but there is no harm in letting them kind of run in the same space. What else is happening? I don't know. There's just like so much goodness. So big projects this year that were completed. We're definitely getting the podcast launched. And some of this I'm reflecting because of Lionsgate last year. There was this list of stuff that we were releasing. And there's more stuff from Lionsgate this year that I have to fully release, and I'm going to work on that. So you'll hear more about that. But like GF Mom Certified is going. So Instagram handle is going to, fully go away, and it'll just become probably at Tiffany Hinton. We'll figure that out and I'll get that announced. Email address will fully change, website, things like that will get fully transformed, and we'll be out of this transition state that we've been in for a while. But podcast fully realized, fully here. We've got paying sponsors. If you'd ever be interested in sponsoring the podcast or being a guest on the podcast, like reach out. The sun is shining. You can see it coming in. Embracing this green witch more and more. Got a couple of different hats I've ordered from people on Etsy. This one I absolutely love. I'm going to wear it. There's a hat party coming up in the city, and I'm actually going to wear the witch hat. We've made jewelry, the chickens, the greenhouse fully here. Excited to be able to plant in there in like early in probably January, February, and like get the plants in the greenhouse versus growing them in the house. Chicken coop fully realized. The fence will be up soon. Organized our garage. That's another thing I'm so grateful for, was the chance to pull everything out this year, buy organization, buy some new cabinets, wall hanging stuff, and just clean that up. Get rid of 20 years of random stuff that me and Will had that it just like accumulated in the garage for no reason. I need to do something like that in my house, but we'll get there. There's just been a lot. And so I wanted to take the time on the podcast. This is a short podcast just to kind of let you guys know what's happening. So what's coming, right? I am off later this month, headed out to a yoga retreat focused on business and focused on coming together with other business owners. And so I'm sure there's going to be some podcast guests coming out of there and some new partnerships as well. So that's definitely happening. I have been downloading and receiving ideas for a new feminine, masculine, balanced eating program or cultivating program. We'll figure out what to call it later, but feeling in, I've talked about it a couple times on the podcast already, but really feeling into it. I've got it kind of outlined on paper now, and now it's a matter of building it and getting everything set up in Podia and videos and content and all of that stuff, and then marketing, of course. So watch for that to come out. We are still writing articles for Chicago Natural Awakenings magazine and for Milwaukee Natural Awakenings magazine. So those articles, if you're interested, you can go to either of their websites or both of their websites and check that out. It's just so many fun and things to be grateful for, and things coming, right? Things that I don't even know are coming, but those definitely are coming up. Is the new program. If you've ever done any of my like Thrive Eating in the past or functional medicine coaching, we're going to blend that with the spirituality and the herbalism and the cultivating parts and like bring that all together. There'll be partner discounts in there as well and some other fun stuff. We've got a new virtual assistant, so you may have seen some change in a couple of different things, and maybe you haven't even seen the change, but I see on our Instagram page looking now, you can definitely tell we are we're Homestead. We have animals, we have vegetation, we are canning, we have, and like it is all a homestead. And so it is all gluten-free, of course, but it is all like homegrown intentionally. There is like sustainability practices, there is, prep and just like living off the land stuff and how to do it in the suburbs. And so super fun stuff there. If there is stuff as a listener and you're like, Tiffany, I'd really like to know more about whatever that topic is, or I'd like you to have a guest about this topic, please message me. Send me an email or send me a private message on Facebook. Let's get that set up. I'd love to seek out some stuff that you want to learn more about. That would be super fun. I'm also thinking about, what other webinars do we want to do in the winter, especially when we can't get outside? Are there any classes you're interested in? Our Green Witch gardening planner came out. We'll definitely do more with that in spring gardening and planning of gardening. So maybe even in not December, that's a bad time to do classes, but maybe November and February, we do some webinars around, and even January around garden planning, and we pair that up with the planner because that would be super fun. So that's some ideas too. There's a lot there, but those are my updates. Again, like I said, quick little podcast, nothing earth shattering, I don't think, for anybody, but if you wanted to know what was going on, there you have it. And comment below, leave us a message, especially if you're on YouTube or you see this on Instagram. Comment below with what are you grateful for this year? What came to you? What have you been manifesting that's been realized? And you're ready to go and embrace it. So with that, talk to you all soon. All right, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Share with me your favorite part and share with me what are the things that you're grateful for. Just like I said, you can tag us on Instagram and do a gratitude post, or you can comment with your gratitude. But I am really curious, what are you so grateful for this year? What has come to you? What has been realized? And thank you for joining us for this super short and sweet Cultivating Guts podcast. Satnam. Love you guys. So if you love this episode, remember to share it with your friends. Send it to anyone who may love the inspiration and information that we shared. And to get our newest book, The Green Witch Ultimate Garden Planner, you can hop on Amazon or you can check out our website, www.cultivatingguts.com. And you will find all the details on our new website, cultivatingguts.com, to see how to get gardening and growing your own food. And you can get our full-length gardening masterclass, which you can do at home, which will prepare you for the upcoming gardening spring season and planning, and get you kind of entrenched so you can get all of that stuff put together as we go through fall and winter and be ready to go in the spring. So have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining us.